Welcome to True Crime Case Files, the podcast that delves deep into the shocking, tragic, and often untold stories behind heinous crimes. Today, we're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in early October of 2021, where a tightly knit conservative community became the epicenter of a heartbreaking tragedy. Our story centers on an 18-year-old high school senior whose dreams of freedom and love were shattered in a moment of unspeakable violence. Caleb Hubner was an 18-year-old high school senior living in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in October 2021. A talented pianist, Caleb often played hymns during Sunday services at New Light Baptist Church, where his father, Pastor Charlie Hubner, preached to a devoted congregation. While Caleb appeared to be the dutiful son, he was hiding a deeply personal secret. Away from the pews and the piano keys, Caleb struggled with his identity in a conservative town that offered little room for individuality or acceptance. Caleb's secret life began at a church-sponsored youth meeting, where he met Elliot Green, the 18-year-old stepson of Caleb's stepmother, Renee. Elliot was everything Caleb admired: beautiful, confident, artistic, and unafraid to push boundaries. The two quickly bonded over their shared love of music and art. Elliot encouraged Caleb to embrace his creativity, and their friendship deepened. Over time, their relationship turned romantic, then sexual, a tender yet risky exploration of love in a world where such a bond was condemned. They kept their relationship hidden, meeting for sex in secluded spots like Elliot's art studio in a shed behind his house, or the wooded trails around Lake Fayetteville. They used burner phones to text each other and often shared their dreams of leaving Fayetteville after graduation. Caleb even composed original piano pieces that he shared only with Elliot, pieces that reflected both his longing for freedom and his love for Elliot. But their secret came crashing down one fateful night in late September 2021. Caleb's father caught the two boys having sex in the rectory, a private area within the church. Enraged, Pastor Charlie confronted Caleb with a fiery sermon of his own, condemning him as a sinner and threatening to kill him if he ever shamed the family again. Caleb was devastated. He had always longed for his father's approval, but now he feared for his life. The weight of the confrontation pushed Caleb into isolation. He stopped answering Elliot's calls and texts, and his close friends noticed he was unusually withdrawn. Despite his fear, Caleb hinted to Elliot during one of their last secret meetings that he had a plan to expose his stepmother Renee's secret to the entire church and escape Fayetteville with Elliot once and for all. Yet, Caleb's hesitation and growing anxiety showed in his music. On October 2, 2021, just days before his death, Caleb posted a video on TikTok of himself playing a haunting original piece, captioning it, "Freedom feels so close but so far away." On the morning of October 5, 2021, Caleb Hubner's lifeless body was discovered in the rectory of New Light Baptist Church in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The discovery was made by Jane Carter, the church's longtime secretary, who arrived at 8:30 a.m. to prepare for a midweek Bible study session. Jane later described the rectory as eerily silent that morning, with the usual hum of activity conspicuously absent. As Jane entered the rectory, she noticed the door to Pastor Charlie Hubner's office slightly ajar. Inside, she found Caleb lying on the floor. He was surrounded by blood, with severe injuries to his head and upper body. A wrought tire iron, typically kept in the church's parking shed for vehicle repairs, was found nearby, its surface stained with blood. Jane screamed in horror and immediately called 911, her voice shaking as she tried to explain what she had found. The emergency call was placed at 8:37 a.m. Police and paramedics arrived within 10 minutes. Officers from the Fayetteville Police Department, led by first responder police officer Jason Dean Dane, quickly secured the area. Dane, a 15-year veteran of the force known for his calm demeanor, later described the scene as gruesome and deeply troubling. The rectory, once a serene space used for prayer and counseling, had become a horrific crime scene. Blood spatter covered the walls and furniture, and Caleb's body showed signs of a violent struggle. His hands bore defensive wounds, indicating he had tried to protect himself from the brutal attack. The investigators noted that the room was otherwise undisturbed, suggesting the attack was focused and deliberate rather than part of a robbery or random act of violence. Jane Carter, still visibly shaken, told officers that she had last seen Caleb alive on Sunday during the church service, where he had played the piano as usual. She said Caleb seemed quieter than usual but didn't think much of it at the time. Jane was later escorted home by a fellow church member, her hands trembling as she clutched her Bible for comfort. By noon, news of Caleb's death had spread through the community, with headlines like Fayetteville teen found dead in church rectory dominating local outlets such as the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Vigils were quickly planned by friends and classmates who remembered Caleb as a kind and talented young man gone far too soon. The Fayetteville Police Department arrived at New Light Baptist Church within 10 minutes of Jane Carter's 911 call. Detective Aaron Matthews, a respected investigator known for his thoroughness, led the team. Upon entering the rectory, officers immediately recognized that the crime scene pointed to a personal and violent attack. The blood-spattered walls and the tire iron left behind suggested a crime of passion rather than a random assault. As investigators combed the area, they discovered Caleb Hubner's phone tucked beneath a chair. Forensic technicians quickly unlocked it, uncovering a series of text messages and photos that provided critical clues. The messages revealed a romantic and sexual relationship between Caleb and Elliot Green, the stepson of Caleb's stepmother. The texts detailed their plans to leave Fayetteville together after graduation, as well as Caleb's struggles with his father's strict beliefs. One message, sent just 3 days before Caleb's death, read, "He'll rip my bleeping throat out if he finds out about us. I'm so bleeping scared, baby boy." The phone also showed a missed 911 call placed by Caleb on October 3, just 2 days before his murder. Dispatch logs revealed Caleb's panicked voice saying, "My dad, he's going to bleeping kill me." The call was abruptly cut off, and officers who responded to the Hubner home that night reported no visible signs of danger. Charlie Hubner assured them it was a misunderstanding, claiming Caleb was having a hissy fit and exaggerating a family argument. With no immediate evidence of abuse, the matter was closed. These discoveries shifted the investigation's focus. Detectives initially considered the murder to be connected to a burglary or a random act of violence. However, the 911 call and the intimate texts painted a far more personal and troubling picture. Detective Matthews commented, "The moment we saw those messages, we knew this was about more than a simple argument or an outsider breaking in." There was deep tension within the family. The evidence also raised questions about Elliot Green's role. While the messages suggested he was supportive of Caleb, investigators wondered if their relationship had sparked jealousy or anger in someone else. Elliot became a person of interest, but the 911 call directed suspicion toward Caleb's father, Pastor Charlie Hubner. The team decided to interrogate both Elliot and Charlie, hoping to uncover the truth about the events leading up to Caleb's death. As the investigation intensified, Fayetteville residents were left reeling from the implications of Caleb's private life and the possibility of family conflict ending in murder. Charlie Hubner, 48, was no stranger to control. As the fiery pastor of New Light Baptist Church, he had built his life and reputation around strict biblical teachings. Known for his impassioned sermons and commanding presence, Charlie was a man who inspired both respect and fear. Yet behind his polished public image lay a troubled father whose personal struggles would soon come to light. The investigation took a sharp turn when police discovered that Charlie had walked in on Caleb and Elliot Green in a compromising position just days before Caleb's death. According to text messages recovered from Caleb's phone, the two teens had been having sex in the church's rectory, a space Charlie considered sacred. Catching them in the act had reportedly sent Charlie into a blind rage. Witnesses later told investigators that Charlie had confronted Caleb, who was naked at the time, threatening him with violence if he didn't end the relationship. This revelation painted a clear picture of Charlie's feelings in the days leading up to the murder. Friends and family described him as unusually tense, snapping at church staff and isolating himself at home. Police theorized that Charlie's anger was rooted not only in his religious beliefs, but also in his own hidden struggles with his sexuality. As the investigation deepened, police discovered that the rectory was locked at the time of the murder. Only a few people, including Charlie, had keys. This detail raised serious questions about how the crime could have been committed without inside access. Forensics confirmed no signs of forced entry, suggesting that the murderer was someone with both access and familiarity with the church. Further complicating matters was a shocking digital trail uncovered by detectives. Charlie had created a fake profile on a gay dating website under the name Michael1993. Using this alias, he had attempted to catfish Elliot, posing as a young man interested in forming a sexual relationship. Police believed this was either an effort to expose Elliot's sexuality or manipulate him into ending things with Caleb. investigators tracked the account back to Charlie's personal laptop, hidden in his office at the church. When confronted with this evidence, Charlie denied everything, insisting the profile was a setup. His demeanor was defensive yet controlled, a stark contrast to the passionate and angry image witnesses had described. Detectives noted that Charlie's composure cracked when asked about Caleb's relationship with Elliot, further fueling suspicions of jealousy and rage. These discoveries painted Charlie as a deeply conflicted man, a devout pastor outwardly condemning homosexuality while secretly battling his own feelings. The police now had a motive rooted in both shame and anger. Charlie's strict beliefs, his discovery of Caleb and Elliot's relationship, and his unrequited feelings for Elliot created a volatile mix that investigators believed could explain Caleb's tragic end. As they pieced together the timeline, Charlie's potential involvement grew harder to ignore. However, more evidence would be needed to confirm their suspicions and bring the case to a resolution. Elliot Green, 18, was Caleb Hubner's secret boyfriend and the first person police questioned in connection with the murder. Described by friends as bold and outspoken, Elliot was quick to deny any involvement. "I love Caleb," he told investigators during his initial interview. "I would never hurt him." Elliot painted a picture of a devoted relationship, explaining how he and Caleb had planned to leave Fayetteville after graduation to start a life free from judgment. He appeared calm but emotional during questioning, frequently breaking down when recounting memories of their time together. Police, however, remained skeptical. Witnesses had seen Elliot arguing with Caleb outside the church 2 days before his death, and his proximity to the victim made him a key suspect. The investigation took a surprising turn when detectives confronted Elliot with evidence of an online affair. Using records from a popular gay dating website, police discovered that Elliot had been messaging someone under the username Michael1993. The conversations were flirtatious and romantic before becoming sexually explicit, raising questions about Elliot's loyalty to Caleb. What Elliot didn't know until then was that Michael1993 was actually Charlie Hubner, Caleb's father. Elliot was visibly shocked when detectives revealed the truth. "Wait, you're saying that I was having cybersex with Caleb's dad?" he asked, his voice breaking. He admitted to engaging in the online relationship but insisted he had no idea who was behind the account. According to Elliot, the messages were a momentary lapse in judgment during a difficult period when Caleb was pulling away emotionally. When pressed further, Elliot shifted his focus to Renee Hubner, Caleb's stepmother. "You're looking at the wrong person," Elliot told police. "Renee is bleeping evil. She's always obsessed with Caleb. She told me he made her wetter than the ocean, and she's capable of anything." Elliot claimed that Renee had a controlling personality and a deep sexual obsession toward Caleb, whom she saw as a threat to her perfect family image. While his accusations seemed desperate, they prompted detectives to dig deeper into Renee's potential motives. Elliot's insistence that he had nothing to do with the murder, paired with his shock over Charlie's catfishing scheme, made investigators question whether his role in Caleb's life was as clear-cut as it seemed. Elliot's claims about Renee added a new layer of complexity to the case. Police now had to balance the evidence against him with the possibility that someone else in the Hubner household could have been involved in Caleb's tragic death. On October 10, 2021, just 3 days after Caleb Hubner's murder, Fayetteville police uncovered a shocking twist that would change the direction of their investigation. A friend of Caleb's, 17-year-old Mia Torres, came forward with a critical piece of evidence. A handwritten letter Caleb had given her for safekeeping. Mia explained that Caleb had asked her to hold on to it just in case something happened. The letter, written on simple lined notebook paper, revealed Caleb's growing fear of his father, Charlie Hubner. It also accused Caleb's stepmother, Renee Hubner, of embezzling funds from the church's donation accounts. Caleb detailed how he had stumbled upon financial discrepancies while helping with church bookkeeping. He claimed Renee had been skimming money for months to pay for personal expenses, including luxury handbags and expensive meals at chain restaurants like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Perhaps most chillingly, Caleb wrote about his fear of what might happen if his father discovered his secret sexual relationship with Elliot Green. "If Dad finds out about me and Elliot, I don't think I'll make it out alive," Caleb wrote. Detectives immediately verified parts of Caleb's claims. A forensic accountant reviewed the church's financial records and confirmed large sums of money were unaccounted for, supporting Caleb's allegations against Renee. This discovery gave police a new motive to consider. Was Renee trying to silence Caleb to protect herself? The letter also added weight to the theory that Charlie's knowledge of Caleb's sexuality played a role in the murder. Caleb's line about fearing for his life painted Charlie in an even darker light. Investigators now had to untangle whether Charlie had killed Caleb in a fit of rage or if Renee had manipulated events to shift the blame. The twist significantly altered the investigation's focus. Police re-interviewed Renee and Charlie, pressing them separately about the letter's contents. Renee dismissed the accusations as wild lies, claiming Caleb was trying to turn his father against her. Charlie's response was more subdued. He neither confirmed nor denied the letter's claims, though his demeanor grew noticeably tense. This new evidence cast suspicion on both Charlie and Renee. With each blaming the other, investigators were forced to dig deeper into their motives, relationships, and secrets. The twist brought to light a tangled web of lies, greed, and betrayal that now lay at the heart of Caleb's tragic death. By mid-October 2021, police intensified their focus on Renee Hubner after uncovering Caleb's letter accusing her of embezzling funds from the church. Confronting Renee, detectives laid out evidence of financial irregularities, including bank transfers and receipts that align with Caleb's claims. Large sums of money meant for church renovations and charitable work have been redirected into personal accounts and used for luxury purchases, such as designer handbags and spa treatments at high-end locations like the Ritz-Carlton in Charlotte, North Carolina. At first, Renee denied everything. She called the accusations the desperate attempt to ruin my reputation. But as detectives pressed, showing her records and testimony from church staff, her confidence began to crack. She eventually admitted to taking money, but insisted it was only temporary, blaming financial struggles she faced after marrying Pastor Charlie. During the interrogation, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. When detectives pushed her about her relationship with Caleb, Renee's tone turned emotional. Breaking into tears, she confessed to harboring feelings for Caleb. "He was so damn hot," she said, her voice trembling. "I loved him not like a stepson. I married Charlie because I thought it would bring me closer to Caleb. I thought I could be around him and get into his pants." The detectives were stunned. Renee's admission cast her actions in a new, unsettling light. She described how her infatuation with Caleb began when they first met during a church event 2 years earlier. Caleb, then just 16, was volunteering in the church's youth ministry. Renee, who was newly divorced and working as a secretary, claimed she was drawn to his hot body and beautiful spirit. Renee admitted her marriage to Charlie was more of a strategy than a genuine partnership. "I never loved Charlie," she confessed. "He was just a way to get to Caleb." She revealed how her sexual feelings for Caleb deepened over time but were never reciprocated. Caleb, according to Renee, treated her politely but distantly, unaware of her true intentions. Detectives asked if her unreturned feelings motivated her to harm Caleb. Renee vehemently denied it. "I would never hurt him," she insisted. But her confession raised more questions than answers. Did Renee's jealousy of Caleb's relationship with Elliot Green play a role in his death? Could her embezzlement, combined with her obsession, have led her to act in desperation? This bombshell confession complicated the investigation. Police now had to consider the possibility that Renee's love for Caleb, twisted by rejection and fear of exposure, could have driven her to silence him forever. The revelation also cast Charlie's behavior in a new light, as detectives wondered if he had suspected Renee's feelings and acted out of rage or jealousy himself. The discovery painted a picture of a family consumed by secrets, betrayal, and unrequited love, all colliding in a tragedy that shocked the Fayetteville community. As investigators pieced together the events leading to Caleb Hubner's death, they uncovered a chilling story of rage, fear, and calculated deception. Pastor Charlie Hubner, already grappling with his troubled marriage, financial scandals, and his hidden sexual feelings for Elliot Green, found himself pushed over the edge on the night of October 12, 2021. Overwhelmed by anger and the fear of his secrets coming to light, Charlie confronted Caleb in the church rectory. The argument quickly escalated, with Charlie accusing Caleb of ruining their family and betraying the church. Caleb, in turn, reportedly lashed out, bringing up Charlie's hypocrisy and the embezzlement. At the height of the argument, Charlie's fury boiled over. In a moment of blind rage, he grabbed a heavy brass candlestick from the desk and struck Caleb repeatedly, killing him. Stunned by what he had done, Charlie froze, horrified by the lifeless body of his son. It wasn't long before Renee discovered the scene. Realizing Charlie's crime could expose both of their darkest secrets, she sprang into action, determined to protect herself. Renee suggested planting subtle evidence to shift suspicion away from their family. Renee targeted Elliot Green, knowing his relationship with Caleb was already under scrutiny. She took Caleb's phone and sent a series of messages to Elliot, creating the illusion of an argument. She also smeared a small amount of blood on the inside of Elliot's locker at the church, hoping it would link him to the murder. To further mislead investigators, she hid the candlestick in a closet behind a stack of hymnals, hoping to delay its discovery. But police were already suspicious of Charlie. The locked rectory was a key clue. Only a handful of people had access, and Charlie was at the top of the list. As detectives dug deeper, they found inconsistencies in Charlie's alibi and signs of his growing animosity toward Caleb. Witnesses reported seeing Charlie arguing with Caleb in the days leading up to the murder, and phone records contradicted Charlie's statements about his whereabouts that night. Faced with mounting evidence, Charlie was arrested on October 18, 2021. The once respected pastor was visibly shaken, his head bowed as officers led him away. Sources close to the investigation described him as despondent, overwhelmed by the realization that his actions had not only taken a life, but also destroyed his family and reputation. The community was left in shock as the truth emerged, unraveling the facade of a devout household shattered by secrets, betrayal, and tragedy. When Charlie Hubner stood trial in March 2022 for the murder of his stepson, Caleb Hubner, his defense team leaned heavily on his reputation as a respected pastor and devoted Christian. Throughout the proceedings, Charlie's lead attorney, Jonathan Blake, portrayed him as a man of faith and integrity who had been wrongfully accused. The defense argued that Charlie's years of service to his community, his strong moral character, and his position as a spiritual leader made it implausible for him to commit such a violent act. Blake emphasized Charlie's spotless record, highlighting his charity work and the love he had garnered from his congregation at New Light Baptist Church. Witnesses from the church testified about Charlie's sermons, which often stressed forgiveness and compassion. "He's a man who has spent his life helping others," Blake told the jury during his closing arguments. How could someone like Pastor Hubner be capable of this horror? The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Teresa Caldwell, presented a mountain of evidence pointing to Charlie's guilt, including the candlestick murder weapon hidden in the church and Charlie's strained relationship with Caleb. Caldwell argued that Charlie's anger, combined with the fear of his secrets being exposed, drove him to commit the crime. She called several witnesses who testified to Charlie's growing hostility toward Caleb and his erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to the murder. Despite the prosecution's compelling case, Charlie's defense successfully created doubt in the minds of the jurors. Blake suggested that the evidence could have been planted to frame Charlie, possibly by Elliot Green or someone else with motive to harm Caleb. He painted the case as a tragic misunderstanding, urging the jury to remember the good Charlie had done throughout his life. On March 18, 2022, after 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned a shocking verdict: not guilty on all counts. Guests filled the courtroom as Charlie, visibly emotional, embraced his attorney. Outside the courthouse, supporters from his congregation cheered, holding signs that read, "Justice for Pastor Hubner." The verdict left Caleb's friends and family stunned, many expressed outrage, calling the trial a miscarriage of justice. Charlie walked free, but his reputation remained tarnished among those who believed in his guilt. The case sparked debate, with outlets dissecting the jury's decision and its implications for faith-based character defenses in criminal trials. In the months following his acquittal, Pastor Charlie Hubner's life took a dramatic turn. While he regained his position, his personal life was unraveling. His marriage to Renee Hubner, already strained by the events surrounding Caleb's death, fell apart. After a lengthy investigation, Renee was convicted of embezzling funds from the church, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars over several years. The court sentenced her to 8 years in prison. Renee's conviction was another blow to Charlie's public image. The once respected pastor's reputation was severely damaged, not just because of Caleb's murder, but also due to his wife's financial crimes. After her conviction, the couple divorced, with Charlie retaining full custody of their children. The divorce was finalized in early 2022, and Renee was shipped off to a federal facility to serve her sentence. In the aftermath, Charlie found solace in his relationship with Elliot Green, Caleb's former lover. The two men, who had spent months under suspicion during the investigation, grew close after the trial. Although Elliot had been accused of framing Charlie, the jury had ultimately cleared him of involvement in Caleb's death. The bond between Charlie and Elliot deepened, and within a year of the trial, the two men decided to get married. In March of 2023, Charlie and Elliot exchanged vows in a private ceremony in Malibu, California. The couple received some media attention, as the story of a pastor who had been exonerated of murder marrying his stepson's former lover seemed to fascinate the public. Despite the controversy surrounding their relationship, the two men seemed to find peace together. Shortly after their wedding, Charlie and Elliot adopted a child. The child, a 6-year-old girl named Lily, was a ward of the state after her biological parents were incarcerated for drug-related offenses. The adoption process was quick, with the couple settling into a new chapter of their lives as parents. Friends and family described the couple as doting fathers, with Elliot working from home as a freelance writer and Charlie scaling back his duties at New Light Baptist to spend more time with his family. The once divisive pastor and his husband appeared to have moved past the scandals and heartbreaks of their past. Though they continued to face public scrutiny, they found a sense of normalcy and a future together, putting Caleb's tragic death behind them. Caleb Hubner's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers of intolerance and repression. Though justice was served, the loss of such a promising young life leaves a wound that will never fully heal.